Thanks, Atlas. I don't think it comes as any surprise. That's kind of what we talked about on the desk. We predicted this EG to come out, show up, and step up and play this type of game today.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing I'd like to touch upon this game was the fact that it all came down to that one fight. Really nothing else mattered. Now, in the beginning of the game, I was worried for EG because the game was going very slow. Nobody had made any moves anywhere, and Coast had a very late game scaling composition. Now they go for the 4-man tower dive bottom. It gets spotted. It gets spotted way before it even begins in the banana brush, and nobody reacts to it. Coast makes no move.
Let me actually stop because we'll pull up the replay since you're prefacing it fantastically, but we might as well get the replay up on the screen for everyone at home, and that way I'll let you just carry it through here.
So we saw EG get into this position, walking by the river through a pink ward, and now it's very obvious that Coast wants to do something about this, and they just don't. The bot lane collapses late. They could have made it before EG's bot lane gets there. TP comes in sooner from EG. Now, Maokai can always teleport to the Thresh Lantern. They could have coordinated that. Throw a Thresh Lantern out, have Maokai TP into it, and collapse. The only reason I could see them being a little hesitant, Lee Sin and Ahri are very mobile champions, and going for a TP planet may be a little bit risky. But at this point, TP down, just take Dragon. There was a lack of communication in there. They needed to know that either you're going for this or you're not, and everybody just leaves and just forget about it. But they didn't. They kind of committed halfway through, and they ended up paying for it because Ori got hit with a charm, and then from then on, that game was just completely snowballed, and it's over.
Now, is this indecision, though? Is this the indecision and the lack of synergy that we're seeing, bringing in the two new players and maybe not coming to as quick of a conclusion as they needed to pick that fight?
Yeah, I think they needed to be the ones that were acting on it. They had an advantage in information going into that situation. Ahri crossed a pink ward, and she didn't see that the pink ward was in there. So if they just were prepared for it, they're all waiting for Powelter and Helios to get in that vulnerable position, and they immediately act on it. They try to Oriole preemptively. They try to TP in first. They can win that fight because it's in their jungle on their terms. If you can't win a fight where people are blindly invading your jungle when you have information that they're coming and they don't, I don't think you can win the series.
All right. Well, we did already mention, though, that pretty much the entire game came down to that fight because it was such a huge swing in both momentum and gold for EG. They pretty systematically closed it out, which was to no surprise. So then the big question is, what is going on in Coast communication for the rest of that game? Because I feel like they have to be aware of the fact that the game is going to be over. Now they're looking forward into the next 2 games.
I think something that Coast can do is actually play towards, if they're not comfortable playing situations that they have to have a lot of teamwork and communication in it, avoid those situations. Like, for instance, if they're not comfortable when EG walks into their jungle as 2 blind, if you don't feel like, you know what, I don't really trust my teammates to do this, call it off. Just be like, okay, ward it and leave. And then you can come back when they leave so you're safe again. Just avoid that kind of situation. And go take something else. Just play an objective game, a trading objective game. They go do that, go take a turret somewhere else. Go push middle, go invade the jungle. Just avoid EG when EG is like grouping up and trying to create something happen. Like the team that EG had has to make something happen early. If you can just dodge that and trade objectives, you're going to get through the early phase. You're going to get to the late game, which is what they wanted to do with that team composition. And then it's a lot much easier to be grouped as 5, and then you know what the decisions are making. In the laning phase, making quick decisions like a TP, are we ganking here? What wards do we need? How are we going to collapse on this situation in the jungle where it's a very tricky place with ramps, with all these brushes? Just avoid that altogether and just stick to making it at a laning phase and then team fight, if that's the team comp you're going for. Because we saw what EG wanted to have. They wanted to have more of an early game aggressive. They want to use that communication advantage against Coast. And if Coast can't keep it up, then they're going to get swiped.
We do have to give credit to Coast for their individual play in that early portion of the game. That was 9 minutes into the game. But for those first 9 minutes, all of their solo lanes were holding even. We had Maokai into a Lulu, keeping up in CS. We had the bot lane of Mash and Sheep holding up against Altec and Kruppo. That's our featured matchup. And those are, that's considered one of the stronger bot lanes in NA at the time. And so we have to give credit to them individually. Is the solution now, as Crumbzz poised to go into Champions Select, say, hey, we're going to choose again, we're going to choose strong laners, maybe late game scalers, and hold off on the team fight as long as possible, and then rely on our individual mechanics to outplay them later in the game?
Yeah, I think if that's your philosophy, then you just don't go for team fight champions. Like, why are you going to pick Orianna there when you can just pick Syndra and have one-shot potential by yourself? Like, Syndra does not need the team to follow up on everything she does. She can sit there, wait for the Ahri to come into the jungle and just one-shot the Ahri. And then the fight's easy. Then everyone will know what to do. It's like, oh, we're just chasing them down. Just TP in, use your stuns, like, go hard. That's an easy fight to win. But when you have to coordinate a TP, an Orianna ult, Kha'Zix leaping in, like it's too much for them right now.
I think we just like Syndra too much.
Yeah, I love it.
Syndra's the theme of the day today.
It's called being a jungler, man. When you're a jungler and you gank a Syndra and she already has spells used and she just turns around and one-shots you, that's when you start hating Syndra. That's when you start thinking that Syndra's the best champion in the game.
She might be the answer. You know, we've posed the question. Let's see if any of the teams follow through on it and prove us to be right there in that remark. We're going into game 2. It was a decisive victory for EG. EG's looking very strong, so we have to give them credit for the fact that they made one very good team play, and then they systematically closed it out. So is that something that they're going to be able to continue to do? Or do we think that there will be an option for Coast to disrupt that, maybe through champion select, by taking away Helios's Lee Sin, where he can make decisive engages and plays around the map?
I don't see it happening. I know that in the regular season, when EG gets ahead, they stay ahead. Like, they are very good at the vision control and making sure that you feel that they're in your jungle everywhere. And their vision control when ahead is very strong. Like, it is one of the best. So if Coast gives up an early lead again, I don't see any chance that they're going to be able to break EG open again and try to make a comeback.
Okay. Yeah, things are looking a little grim after that loss there for Coast, but we are going to take a quick break, and then we'll see if Evil Geniuses can keep the momentum going in Game 2 versus Team Coast. Don't touch that mouse. The Spring Promotion Tournament continues after this.
Fucking Syndra.
Guys, you know every time Ori has played, they've won?
Really?
Yeah.
So they never lost to Ori?
No team has lost with Ori.
Ori won every single game, so don't let us down, Toto.
But a nice chance going to land on the Ringer. There's Helios coming in. A nice shockwave comes down, but Ringer's still going to die. Pobelt has got exhausted. We'll see whether he can get the damage down. Sheep now. There's the Sonic Wave. Resonating strike as well. Helios right into the back line, of course. Inhibitor turret is going down, and they're looking to fight out. Sheep is just dead straight up. There's the Glacial Fissure coming through as well. Miracle now the only one in this fight.